Hey everybody, how are you doing out there? Welcome aboard to today's AMA with the Terarium team. Lots of folks already in joining. I appreciate you guys being here. We've got Naheem, Dr. Rob, Dave Wolf, Steve, Frank Q. Looking like we're going to have some decent attendance here. And so I've got the team waiting in the background. Just a few rules of the road, everybody. We are going to cover a lot of information today. Fan, how are you? Welcome. Dr. Pena, welcome. So we're going to go chronologically talking about some of the events of the last month. And then we will definitely be spending a lot of time on Terapool, talking about the future too. And then we'll be taking questions toward the end. So let me bring in the team here. We've got Milton, there's Austin, RD, and Dr. Praveen. Can you guys all hear me okay? How are we doing out there?
We're good. We're good.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you.
See, I've been booted out of the craft room and then from the ping pong table, and now I'm in the kitchen. This is how it works for me. The next step will probably be the front porch and then the neighbor's house. I
got office space for you, Dean, if you wish to.
Hey, I might just take you up on that. It's been crazy. And this week, the whole entire family got COVID, and my wife works as a healthcare provider. So she's doing telemedicine out of the basement today. So I'm up here. This is a pretty nice background. She's pretty good at decorating the house, and it's a little more exciting than the craft room.
Hope everyone's feeling better.
Say that again.
Hope everyone at home is feeling better now.
Oh, doing a lot better. Yeah. This newest strain of this, it seems like they say like 5 to 7 days you can return to work, where it used to be a couple weeks. So,
well, Austin just been through it, so he can explain his.
we were talking about it before we went live, and yeah, you know, it's a battle, man. But everyone's healthy now, and we'll all get through it. So,
yeah,
Good luck,
absolutely.
Dean.
Well, it's been about 4 weeks since the last AMA, which I think is a really nice amount of time because so many things have transpired. There's so much to talk about. But before we get into all of that, you guys have been really busy. RD's traveling the world. I mean, how is the team holding up, Milton?
Team is doing great, Dean. We had the expo, got a good amount of exposure there. Then we were back into, the codes and the things to get the Terapool ready to go. So all ended up well. So no complaints.
Yeah. Very, very good. And RD, you don't look like you're, too worse for wear for all the travel that you're doing.
Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm tired today. I've been up for quite a while, but my connection's a little wonky, so it goes in and out. So
yeah, you're coming through loud and clear. So, all right.
Good.
Well,
good.
So Milton, let me see if I can pull my screen here. The last time we talked about the home office, all we pretty much had were, let me see here. I got to get the right feed. Here we go. This is off of your page. These are pretty much the only 2 guys that we had in the office at the last AMA.
Yeah.
So what is the office looking like these days?
House full, getting there.
Yeah. How many employees are on board now?
Currently, we got 26. We're still recruiting our KYC team, and because we have the exchange work coming up, right? So the marketing team, the KYC team are currently in place. Hiring manpower is not as easy as we say it is, because you need to get the right individuals on board. Everybody has to go through a background verification check. They have to give their notices in their current firm that they are working in. It's a process. So we have the people on board, but currently at the desk, yes.
Yeah. My understanding, I was talking to RD Price about that, and it sounds like, here in the United States, we're pretty much accustomed to the idea of 2 weeks notice. So when a person transfers from one employee to another, employer to another, generally speaking, it's a 2-week notice. It sounds like that's not exactly the custom there in India.
It's a little bit different. Sometimes they have a 30-day notice. Sometimes it's they might be caught up in a project, so they have the liability to finish up the project and move over to our desk. So getting the right individuals is our key priority over here, Dean. Because see, retention will happen no matter what in any businesses, right? We pick the right individuals on board. We have a good strong team always. So that's the ideology behind here. So RD was helping us with a couple of interviews and things on board. So that's why he's a little bit tired. So
Yeah. Well, that's good. So it sounds like you've got a KYC team established and marketing. Are those?
we do.
What
We
else
have
is
a lot.
happening there?
Yeah, we received tremendous input from our Terapool launch yesterday. We had over 7 projects now currently wanting to list in Terapool. So it takes a lot of paperwork and verifications for us to initiate the process, right? Because the pool platform, just like a launchpad, we have to run through the KYC and all the required information before we can have a project displayed in Terapool. So
I was going to see if I could find this one here too, Milton. What can you tell us? What's happening here?
Yeah, that's just a photo from the expo. That's all.
Oh, that's from the expo. Okay.
Yeah.
I wondered if that was from the new home office or.
I wish we had so many floors, but no.
I call this one looking to the future, Milton. This is good. Now, I like the confidence here and really it's just the contemplativeness of the task that's in front of Terarium as a project, as a team, as a company. And so this is going well. So you're saying this picture's from the Crypto Expo. That's something that a lot of us here in the United States, we didn't get a lot of feedback on what happened at the expo. Could you give us an overview of what happened there and what type of relationships you made?
Sure. The expo is mostly more than businesses and individuals meeting. It's businesses and businesses understanding and creating a partnership and relationships over there. So we had a lot of connects at the expo that helped us to gain certain licenses, which I'm not currently at the notion to notify because due to the signing and the pendings and everything on board. So we built great relationships in the expo with good resources. It was a good expo for Terareum by itself. We had the Japanese entity, and we are also looking into the European entity right now. For the Centralized Exchange by itself. So a lot of paperwork again.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of those, licenses, I guess you could say, I noticed in one of your tweets, it sounds like Dubai is now complete. Is that correct?
It is, but we're still in the last step. I'm traveling to Dubai next week in order to finish up all the the last home run for Terareum to get the licensing and things on board. So,
all right, we've got Dr. Ramana in the background there. I'm going to pull him in. Yeah, you should be in, Dr. Aman. I don't know if your camera is off, but you're added to the stream. There were people worried about him over here in the comments. I'm seeing maybe he got left in Singapore or.
Dr. Willman didn't notify me that he was going to be traveling.
Okay, so Dr. Willman may not be joining today.
No, he's traveling actually right now, or at work, traveling to work in an airplane. Yeah.
All right. Well, very good. So in that expo, Milton, I mean, what was the day-to-day for Terarium? Did you guys I mean, how much time was spent in the booth making connections versus other types of activities?
It was basically from 8 to 6. So many people visited us. Just like a regular expo. You maintain connects. You go to a different booths, talk to them, see what partnership can bring us more benefits. And things. More people wanted to collaborate with us because of our Terapool entity was being displayed over there. We got good connections and project notification that they want to have the fundraiser and the liquidity being raised through Terapool. So after yesterday's launch, we already started connecting with few of the contacts which wanted the resources from us. So we received good response via emails as well once Terapool was launched. We have almost 7 projects now. We just running through the paperwork and the KYC and everything. So we should be able to see a couple of good projects wanting fundraiser through our Terapool. So
what's the timeline like from the time someone says, hey, Milton, we would like to apply, we're going to go through the process to actually launching on the Terapool?
It depends upon the project, Austin, because see, everybody has their own timeline. Like, see, when we did the Terrarium launch, there was a specific time zone, like a timeline from this date to this date was the pre-sale, the airdrop, and everything was coordinated, right? So each project has their own requirements. So we have to accommodate those requirements at that point. So because we'll be monitoring the transaction that happens on board, right? So we need to have the team do the work as well as the platform as the project becomes live.
Gotcha. Are these 7? Are they already like established projects? Like they already are like, hey, are they part of the Kickstarter?
A few of them are, but not to give out any further information because there is a policy on board, right? Because there's a notification that certain projects, after signing the documentation, we can notify because sometimes, there are a lot of things involved when a business goes through, right? So until everything is signed and sealed, I cannot disclose certain projects on board. Yes.
Yeah. No, and I figured that. I was trying to think in my head like timeline of when these come out, and I mean, yeah, you got to go through the pre-sales of them and all that.
Absolutely. So. But the thing is, we're going to have a great addition in the next 2 weeks' time. We're going to have a version V1 first version of our Terapool updated, and that's going to have a lot of features on board. Apart from this Terapool by itself. So we're going to have upcoming projects. We're going to have a database for the oncoming projects. Everything is going to be listed. So we start creating a good, like a launchpad kind of a look as well onto the platform. So a lot of information will be on the database so that everybody can see what were the projects which were if you have looked into BSE Pad, you have the details about the projects which was listed, going to be listed, currently being listed, and all those things will be added to the Terapool platform. And we will be moving on to the centralized exchange concepts after that. Yes.
That was a question I was going to have is there going to be some type of a dashboard for those of us who are looking at the projects that are going to be coming out that we might want to be participating in as an investor?
Yes. There will be the next update will have all those information, and and it will also have a pre-sale link. Pretty much, we are covering up the entire launchpad within our Terapool itself because we can also make it into an ICO platform, also a pool platform. That's like all together in one. That's Terapool.
Wow.
So speaking of Terapool, I'm going to share my screen and pull this up. And I have to tell you that as a crypto investor, Milton, I don't know if you guys read the cryptocurrency playbook when it comes to launching new products, because you're supposed to promise something and then delay it about 5 or 6 times before you actually get it there. And you guys said July 4th, and then you launched on July 4th. That was confusing for some of us who are not used to that kind of efficiency. So Good job. We appreciate that. That was huge for investor confidence.
Thank you. It's appreciate the
Thank
support.
you.
So here is the Terapool website. It's just terapool.io. And then for me yesterday, I went ahead and started a account. So the Wallet Connect, I simply, now all I have to do is just scan it with my Trust wallet that I'm using, and it automatically will log me into my account, which I think is cool. I mean, it seems like that's very seamless, works really well. And then from here, I can build a project. What can you tell us about this?
Um, uh, Basically, the platform over here is Dean. We can launch projects, fundraiser, charity, any aspect which is related to raising capital. Terapool helps the user achieve that, because we just have to put in the notification over there, and the entire details gets filled up, and we would get to know what is your project and what you're trying to achieve out of that, and what further assistance we can help you out with. But everything is automated. At the end of the day, nothing is on a manual note. You can just go ahead and launch the project just by itself with a note create project once you have filled up all the information.
And it sounds like anybody who wants to launch a project on this, there is a requirement for KYC. So you're going to be verifying the people that are doing projects?
Correct.
Okay. And from an investment standpoint, for somebody who is new to cryptocurrency or may not understand that terminology, how does the KYC process help protect me as an investor?
At the end of the day, right, Dean, see, we are a platform that offers a fundraising platform to businesses. We run the KYC in the initial get-go to see the authenticity of the project. But at the end of the day, we are not liable to what the project becomes. Right? We are a medium, just like just like PayPal. At the end of the day, right? You can use PayPal to buy whichever product you want to buy. It's just a medium of payment. Terapool works the same way. So any project, we try to do as much as the max amount of KYC verification and discussion with the team before the launch as possible. But then once again, we are a business that provides a medium, a fundraising medium to the project. So everybody has to do their own research at the end of the day before they invest into any kind of project, and see the by attending the AMAs, talking to the devs, or see how legit the project is, because we are just a medium for projects to raise funds, and that is the business model of this. So
yeah, so what I'm hearing you say is, even though you guys are doing KYC, you know who you're working with, the responsibility still lies with the investor to get to know the project, understand who's in charge, and then ultimately the risk is to the individual who's investing.
Absolutely. That's the primary aspect of any business or any crypto or any stock market that we do, right? The entire risk factor always lies with the person investing. So they have to do their research on board to know the authenticity of the product. So we provide a medium for them to collect the funds. So we're just a model that, like a payment gateway that helps the projects raise funds or liquidity for their project.
Okay.
Could you do because like how I was sort of thinking about it when you were saying like sort of raise capital, could this turn into like maybe like a GoFundMe for crypto where people could come, instead like donation? Oh wow.
It can, Austin. The possibilities are limitless. Basically, that is our tagline for Terapool, because we can do raise funds, we can GoFund, we can, if you have a new idea, you can just pitch it onto the project and share the link. You can whitelist the individuals you want to pick and choose for the project, or there's plenty of options on board for a project by itself to basically launch itself into the crypto platform. So
wow. Wow, that's cool.
Kind of like a GoFundMe slash Kickstarter.
Kickstarter slash IDO
Hybrid,
slash
yeah, slash
IDO
PayPal slash,
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool, man. There's not a lot of that in crypto. I mean, there is some like that in crypto, but I mean, to have it all in one place is, I don't know if there's something out there like that yet.
Well, that's
not
why
that
I
I'm
call
aware
it
of
the
anyways.
De Novo. That's why I call it the De Novo project.
So can I ask a question about that? I mean, as I got in there and started looking at it, I didn't want to move forward to the create project tab because I don't really have a project that I'm trying to create. But if a person has an idea and they're not really sure how to develop that, how can they reach out to the team to get assistance? Will there be tutorials on how Terapool works for the new user, or can they get assistance directly with the Terarium team?
The base platform of Terapool, Dean, is a business model that helps businesses to raise capital. The reason that Terapool was in play was because, see, if you go into an ICO or an IDO platform, let's say you want to raise a liquidity of almost $1 million, just on a ballpark number, right? What the ICO IDO does is they take the entire control from the business. They take their tokens, meaning even before we move on to the part where we raise the capital, the ICO will make you sign a contract which notifies that they would take in almost 20 to 30% of your total raised capital, and they would also take a good share of your tokens once it has been launched. And imagine that for a new project, right? Let's say even $50,000 goes off for, just on a 5% mark, right? That's a lot of money that they can use it for the betterment of the project, but that's not the real case. In real life, almost $200,000 to $300,000 gets burnt, even for $1 million market cap company before they go live into public platform, and they're just stuck there with $500,000 or $600,000 just to run the remaining aspect, and then they have to collect more liquidity. And this was a very monopolistic market at the end of the day. Terapool, what we serve the purpose is we made it, we globalized the platform, which made it easier for all the businesses to gain liquidity, which is the first pre-hand, that's the first step for any businesses to grow, is to gain liquidity. So we achieve that platform at a very low transaction fee cost of less than 2% most of the time. So it depends upon the project strength as well, and the services that we have to offer. But we have it at a baseline of 2%. That is nothing comparatively to what the other platforms charge. So on a large scale sum, a project would only end up spending $20,000, whereas on an ICO IDO platform, they would have to do 10 times that. So that changes a lot of things. New projects will want to have that liquidity with them, right? So the approach to Terapool will be humongous in the coming months and for the future as well.
And
yeah,
that
I wouldn't
manages
want
this question here from Big A Armory, which is essentially just, that your base fee is 2%, which seems pretty good compared to, and I've never used these other platforms, but if they're truly charging 30 to 40%, and that's a massive amount that could go towards liquidity or towards development.
Correct.
Yeah, and I didn't want to crap on pink cell or pink cell. I don't mean to again another project, but that's why I don't use them anymore, because I didn't realize how much they actually take from the projects that you're investing in. And again, I'm not here to crap on them, but it does suck to know that they take a lot of the tokens and then they sell those tokens, and it's just like, man, that really hurts the project and the investors. And after I learned that, I was like, I can't buy on this platform because you just get hurt, let alone talk about projects on it. So
correct. And that's the worst part about any ICO or IDO platform, right, Austin? You launch the token and they hold a majoritively like a good amount of tokens, and they start to sell once the prices move on. And that's not the way to be treating businesses, because you will not get any business in crypto if this is the way it goes. So Terapool changes that narrative for all the businesses that gets on board.
Yeah, I would think
so good to hear.
That would be counterproductive for the launch of a product if, say the ICO platform takes 20% of the token supply and then immediately starts selling those into the initial pump, because most projects do get a good pump initially, but either you're holding back the ability for the price action, or
Correct.
essentially it's taking the funds right back out as people are funding purchasing in.
Correct. And the other aspect is, right, Dean, what happens is that any project that goes live, it has to meet a soft cap and a hard cap. So the project, in order to go live, example, $1 million project, has to meet a $500,000 soft cap.
I'm going to mute for 1 second. You keep talking.
Yeah. So these projects have to reach a soft cap of $500,000 in order to progress with the launch, or else the project gets dropped over time. Whereas with Terapool, we give the entire opportunity to businesses so that they control the entire narrative, because that's how it should be. Because when we are investing in a company, we should trust that business at the end of the day, and you should let them make the decisions about what has to be done. Whereas in an ICO platform, they control the entire narrative till the last moment. And many good projects don't get the opportunities as well, because it's very selective. They would want their tokens to be purchased in order for the project to go live. You need to have a certain amount of the ICO branded tokens for you to participate in the pool. So what happens is that a very selective amount of crowd always gets the better pie at the end of the day. Whereas with Terapool, you can use any stable coins which is mentioned in the platform. We can use Terareum on board, and it's not limited to so-and-so individuals. It's the opportunity is open for all as per what the project requires. We have built it in such a way that everybody can participate in the pool, but at the end of the day, if the project requires a certain amount of fundraisers and whitelisting a certain amount of candidates, it's their option. We provide that as well.
Wow. We're just trying to establish a paradigm shift in the crypto space on how one can start a project and raise liquidity and succeed at that project. Mm-hmm. So more democratization of of one's idea. So that's the whole idea behind establishing the Terapool.
So if we come to you, so like the one thing that really excited me was the whole Kickstarter of it, right? Because there's a lot of people out there that might have great ideas, but maybe they don't understand how to launch a project or even how crypto works, but yet they have a great idea. And so they come to you and they say, hey, Milton, I want to start this. Or they go and they type in their thing. And then you guys say, that actually sounds like a pretty good project. Do you guys take, when you decide that we're going to move forward with that project from the Kickstarter standpoint, are you guys going to take, is there going to be royalties, or how does that work? Or do you take a certain percentage of that? Or do you have a certain ownership in that? Or how does that all work?
Not currently, Austin. We have not gone to that notification yet, because we currently have it at 2%. And transaction fee currently, and we would like to keep that until we get a good amount of movement within Terapool, right? Because see, at the end of the day, a business requires inflow of cash as well, but we would never be overpriced like other platforms. Everything would be on a very feasible range with Terapool always.
Gotcha. And there's I'm assuming that there's probably a selection committee you guys are going to have because you guys could probably get 100 of these, now that this opens it up, people are going to start submitting ideas to you guys, and you're going to probably sit there and go, well, this doesn't sound very good, or this one sounds really good.
Moreover, we do not control the ideology of the business, Austin. What we offer is a platform, right? Like in simple words, how can I put it out? Like example, PayPal does not tell you to go buy a certain things, whereas they offer a medium for us to make a payment. So Terapool is a medium that businesses use to collect the liquidity or to collect the fundraiser. Because let's say we have a good project, right? And you have 10 members throughout, 5 of them in Saudi, 2 of them in Russia, and 2 of them in US, placed in different places. We pitch a project to somebody. Example, how can you unify these people through a certain platform? Because they're not going to send a business funds directly into their crypto account. They need a medium for collecting the capital to know how much capital has been raised. That's where Terapool comes into play. So if they connect with us, we provide them a medium to raise their capital. So everything happens in a very coordinated way, so they can collect their funds and they can establish partnerships within themselves as well in a very cordial way, like a bank that helps you, like a capital firm that helps you collect the right capital from different people.
Gotcha.
Hopefully
Okay.
that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I was just trying to think like, because when I think of Kickstarter, like I think of like, but you're just providing that platform for them to bring their idea to it. If their idea comes to light and people start to buy into it, I mean, that's all you guys are trying to do for them.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's what the crypto market lacks currently, because majority of the ideas go in vain because the ICO or the IDO platforms have a lot of regulatory rules put down stating that they should have the platform related tokens for them even to participate, or even external people to participate. Whereas with Terapool, you can create the project and send the links to whichever individuals that you want to in a personal note as well. Let's say a business already has a Twitter account. They just have to go create the project and copy paste the link in the Twitter platform. Then everybody gets to know about that as a fundraising platform for the project by itself. We made it very easy for other platforms as well to gain liquidity.
So some of these new, the additional features of Terapool, you see those being added in this next quarter, in the next few weeks? I mean, how far?
We're planning for the next in the next 2 weeks time, Dean, because there's we are moving forward with the centralized exchange because see, we did this entire project in 45 days, 50 days, right? We're moving on to the centralized exchange. So we're going to finish off with one final update on the aesthetic wise, where we bring in the upcoming projects, pre-sale projects, and a database for the projects that are being listed onto Terapool. And we are moving into the exchange interface, trying to push that to get it out ASAP as possible. Because this is the first notion on what kind of technology, the seamlessness that we bring into the platform, because the exchange would only be a better adaptation of what Terapool is at the end of the day. So,
okay. Well, thank you for all that information about Terapool. There are lots of people over in the sidebar talking about the centralized exchange. So can you give us some updates on how that project's coming along? There's some concerns I'm seeing in the comments about the timing of the release of a centralized exchange, whether that should happen in a bear market or a bull market. What are your thoughts on the CEX, and is it still planned for this third quarter? Are there any factors that will change the way you release it?
We have planned it for the right from the time we set the roadmap, right, Dean? We set it in a very progressive way that we don't skip any of the roadmaps that we did, and we've been working very hard. The team has been working very hard to achieve each roadmap milestone in the roadmaps as well. So because bear market, bull market, at the end of the day, it happens every time, right? As long as we keep giving out the technology that is required in order to sustain in this market, that's all that matters to us, because that defines whether the company can do great things in a good market, right? Because we have launched Terapool in such a bearish market, whereas we could have waited for another 6 months or 8 months, but that's not who we are, and that's not what Terareum is. We just keep delivering technology as we keep building it for the betterment of crypto. And we want to push out the centralized exchange at the earliest as well, because we got 10,000 plus holders now. So under a good assumption, that's at least 9,000, 10,000 users on board, right? So they get to use the platform that they hold the stocks in. Is actually a pride for. It's actually a pride for me at the end of the day if I'm using a certain platform that I hold my stock with, right? So we want to bring it out as early as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think that's been the most exciting part, right? I mean, originally, I mean, like you said, Terapool wasn't even part of this. When someone on Twitter came out and said something about, I don't even know what it was, but and I was just like, I don't remember speaking about Terapool in my very first video I made with Terrarium, and I went back and watched it, and it was still like, you guys have stuck to your roadmap. You just added Terapool in there, which again is really cool because the first utility that was actually going to drop was the centralized exchange.
Yes.
It's always been Q3, end of Q3, beginning of Q4. So,
but the best part about Terapool project is as we get introduced to more projects who wants to be listed into Terapool, that's getting more businesses into our centralized exchange as well, right? So it's a step-by-step process that is happening as we speak, because good projects are difficult to find for a centralized exchange. But since we already start with a good relationship, it helps us gain more liquidity and more strength onto the centralized exchange as well. So giving us more volume as we grow taller and as we grow stronger and stronger every day.
I didn't think about that. That's actually a very good point. To the Terapool launching projects, now you have a centralized exchange that you can list on.
Yes.
No, that's genius, man. Wow.
Yeah, that was
basically go right from the Terapool onto
exactly
an exchange.
Yeah, that was a minor course correction, but much needed. Some things you learn along the way, I guess, as we educate and grow.
Yeah, well, it's good to be flexible, right? Because I mean, I think one of the things I've learned in terms of administration and leadership, which, I work with the company with about 50 employees and 10 healthcare providers, you'd never know what the absolute right thing to do is at any given time. So you have to make the best decision you can with the information you have. And then as you move forward, you have to correct the course to set things right. And it's good to see the team being able to be flexible and adjust like that. It shows the engagement level. So there was a great question, I thought, on YouTube in just a comment for my video. Let me bring it up and ask you this one. This is Pirate Mike, who actually uses pirate language in his stuff. So he says, ahoy, question for the Terarium developers. Let's see. Question is, in light of all the exchanges halting trading because of misused funds or borrowed money that they shouldn't have to back projects, what will Terarium have in place to mitigate this happening down the track for them? Will it be safer to keep my money in the Terarium exchange, and why?
So exchange by itself, we use n number of hot wallets and cold wallets from different top tier exchanges currently, because any exchange will require a certain amount of liquidity to be launched. So at this moment, we will be using the top 5 exchanges, wallets in order to maintain that liquidity. So top 5 exchanges, as everybody knows, is 1, 2. Yeah. So we would be using their services on board, and those businesses' icons will be highlighted in the wallet when their wallets are used. Example, if Binance, Uboy, KuCoin wallets are being used inside the Terareum portal, that will be notified in the wallet by itself that the wallet belongs to KuCoin or Binance, because we are leasing out the liquidity from them for the current time period. So when we take it out from the good top tier exchanges, they always maintain a very good safe zone for any centralized exchange safety aspect on the wallet wise. So hopefully that answers the thing, because I cannot give in more information.
Yeah. What about just from a pure security standpoint? We have seen, even large exchanges like Bitmart have had hacks. What kind of protections are there for investors that you anticipate implementing with the Terarium exchange?
Currently at this standpoint, right, Dean, everything is built under a certain aspect of safety being the key criteria for us, right? We have multi-layered security features on board for all the aspects of the wallets, even the logging in for a simple user on board. Hacks, why they tend to happen is when there is a certain amount of inside resources. Nothing happens without an inside resource or an information that gets leaked at the end of the day, because a new portal cannot be hacked just like that, because that happens in movies, but in reality, everything happens from an inside source. So that is my belief, and that's what I think about it. But on a safety aspect, centralized exchange, we are building it at the most safety aspect, at the core level of security has to be maintained in our platform, and we are having the entire thing built in such a manner. And we are using the top tier wallets in order to give a much safer initial start for the exchange by itself, because we would be using their wallets, their hot and cold wallets, not our wallets initially. So they have.
That's an interesting aspect that I have never actually heard before, Milton. So the liquidity for the Terareum CEX will actually be housed on other platforms, and you're essentially leasing that liquidity.
Currently.
Okay.
Because see, we need to gain how a centralized exchange works is how a bank works. See, I'm open about whatever I say because that's all we do. So more number of users that get on board, more number of liquidity gets on board, the volume of the centralized exchange increases. So as the volume increases, the ratings of the exchange increases, more number of projects wants to be listed on board, they drop in. Like how we get into an exchange. When we got into Bitmart, we had to provide about, I believe it was $35,000-$40,000 just as listing fees. So that starts to happen with each project on board, and then we have to provide another $50,000 worth of USDT and $50,000 worth of Terra. So that's almost $135,000 from a single project by itself. Imagine when the project, when a centralized exchange has over 80 or 90 projects listed. So that's a lot of liquidity and capital inflow into the exchange. But before that can happen, you need to start the sustaining factor. So we bring in other top tier exchanges to provide that source for us, and then we slowly build up on our volume and our liquidity, and that's how we push the truck forward. Yes.
Great. Wow. Hey, yeah. Just over here in the comments, there's Crypto Lotto Group saying they plan to apply for Terapool. So that's kind of cool to have people in the stream right now that are trying to learn about this and are ready to start moving forward. Who do they reach out to, Milton, to start the process? Just off the Terapool.io, or can they email somebody to get started?
Oh, we have support at Terapool.io. Every requirements can be posted to email to that email address, and our team would get back to them right away and coordinate with them.
All right. So I've got one other question that came. I solicit questions from my video and Twitter. This particular question I would like to show you comes from somebody who really likes the numbers, which I do too. I kind of like the data. So this is IRB Canada, and they just have a logistical question about Null Wallet number 6, which is my understanding is this null address wallet number 6 is essentially can be combined with number 1 as part of the burn tokens. Can you verify that?
It is, Dean. You're right. Null, all the 0 ending address, it's actually a burn address as well, and the dead is actually a burn address as well. So initially we have the number 6 wallet is where the all the 3% burn ratio goes to. It does not go to the dead wallet, whereas it moves into the number 6 wallet. That's why you see it increasing over the time period. And I believe it has over 1.6 quadrillion tokens right now, which has already been burned.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I thought I would let them ask that question directly to the team. So now in the comments, anybody who's got questions, I've been watching several of them come by. This would be a great time to open up the Q&A, unless, Milton, do you have any objections, anything else you wanted to address before we move into audience questions?
Absolutely not. I believe we've answered everything.
Okay. So I saw lots of questions about staking. Here's actually Dr. Rob. Just lots of questions about, or he gets a lot of questions about staking. What plans are there for staking? Will that be a part of the CEX?
Absolutely. So we're trying to incorporate that into the pool platform as well, and that work is in play right now. But staking is a form of for us to gain the liquidity as well. So that will be incorporated into the centralized exchange. At the I believe it happens in the third version. Yes, in the third version, we will have the staking at play.
Okay. So the platform will launch, and then over time, we'll see the staking added to the platform.
Absolutely. So we have our centralized platform in a desktop version, which desktop version, the iOS and the Android version. So the desktop version and the Android versions, iOS will be launched, but the upgrades will happen into the desktop, which will in turn upgrade all the other features onto the iOS and the Android applications. But the desktop will be the core. So it's easier for us to keep updating without any downtime on any of the applications. The versions would automatically get updated.
Okay. So another question that comes up every single time people have the opportunity to ask new listings, any plans to continue additional listings prior to the CEX launch?
We want to get listed in all the platforms, Dean. That is our goal at the end of the day. But there are requirements from them if the because right now, due to the bear market, right, what's happening is every project is losing the volume currently because the volume is very less. Because when we were trading, initially we had it at $3,400 per Ethereum. Right now it's at 1,100. So the volume has drastically reduced by 66%. So exchanges will want high volume currently as we move forward, and that happens when we go into a bull market, and they would want to get us listed as well.
Yeah, that somebody actually talks about any ideas that we can have to increase volume, and it's interesting. Austin and I were talking about this before the stream started today, but really the audience should understand that the volume, I mean, we're seeing this across crypto. It isn't just the volume of trading, but when I was making videos back in September, October, November, I would have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 views per video that are now 800 to 1,000 views per video. And I think what we're seeing is the market has been so difficult that there's been a lot of people wash out of crypto. And the good news is this should wash out a bunch of shady products that just don't really have a use case. They, they didn't have a clear roadmap. They don't have a strong team. And the ones that remain will be serious projects that, as the bear market starts to pick back up again, I think will give the investors more confidence to bring their money to the table. Because ultimately, what's driving volume is us, the individual investors that are either willing to take the chance or not on cryptocurrency. So
true.
I think Dr. Praveen has already done all of the volume that he can up to this point. So it's going to be on the rest of us at this point. So Jason says, if he has great ideas for the Terareum project, who can he reach out to?
Support at Terapool for Terareum project. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's got some ideas on to help you as a project.
Support at Terareum.com. That's where all the queries gets answered from Apple by itself.
Here's an interesting question, and this one certainly does come up quite a bit, especially as it relates to being listed on some of the major exchanges. Any thoughts on flexibility with the reflections/tax?
Absolutely. But the thing is, when we move ahead with the certain changes to the tax, we have a huge list of protocols that we have to follow within the entire the thing is, we have to notify 8 exchanges about the change of taxes, and they have to get through first, because or else what happens is a tax change happens in the main platform where the in the Uniswap, but it will not get reflected into the other exchanges. So it is a 1 month process for us to even start off with the changing of taxes, because all the exchanges has to be notified about the change of tax, and they have to make their corrections as well.
Otherwise, we'll have arbitrage problems.
Yeah.
But in the future, I guess that's probably more futuristic. Like, is the plan for the project to like be like any of the other top 100 cryptocurrencies where there's no tax involved with the purchasing of Terra?
That is an option, Austin, and we've been discussing over that fact. But that gets into play when the centralized exchange gets into hand, because that's where the entire the price margin would it would be a great benefit with the tax at the end of the day, because what happens when we start the blockchain work, there's still a 3% burn if you want the tax. The prices are going to have a good amount of burn per transaction as well, right? So everything has to be considered, whether we want to eliminate that feature right now or we want to keep it for later and get the utility out of it. But it's currently kept into a place because that's how we maintain a good amount of price margin as well currently. So everybody gets the benefits, rewards, and the burn at the same time. But if it is a point of it's a point of concern for many holders, we can put it onto the board and we can come out with a positive reply on that.
Yeah.
So we can possibly run a poll whether is that a change required, and then we can take it to the board and make the decision on it.
Yeah, and I think the Terra chain, people, I don't think a lot of people understand. People are new to crypto, and maybe they don't really understand how it how a blockchain works. But I mean the Terra chain, when you guys finally do get through the Terra chain, I think that obviously it's a game changer for the project.
Yeah.
I think it changes a lot of things, and I mean, I know that's Q2 or something like that of next year, but I mean, that's a big time game changer for any project. So I'm excited for the chain too, and how that can be brought in.
Absolutely, Austin. But the thing is, the other advantage that we have with the burn is when with the Terapool platform, we have Terareum at staking as well, right? We have Terareum. People can pool their funds using Terareum as well. So anytime the platform uses Terareum, there's a 9% burn, which is automatically happening. So imagine if the project wants to pool $2 million or $1 million, that's already $90,000 to be burned automatically, right?
Yeah.
Everything has been put into that consideration as well. So it's a win-win at some point, but then, we have to discuss this over. Yes.
Yeah, no, I get there's benefits to both sides and there's negatives to both sides, and it's weighing them out and seeing which one's better. Yeah, I get that.
I'm muted. Sorry. So this question, I think, applies to any time we bring out a use case with, with the project. Me as an investor, I want to know, how will this potentially impact the price of the token? Are there any plans to, try to create utility within the utilities that help us as token investors?
Absolutely. The Terareum is the native token for our entire platform, and we would always keep it that way, even for our blockchain as well. The benefit, we would always want the holders to retain more Terareum, because that's how we keep the volume and the entire liquidity into play. So even when the exchange launches, there will be a reward structure for holding Terareum on board, because the exchange by itself, we can offer those benefits to our holders at the end of the day, because it's our exchange. So we can give them good staking at the end of the day. So more Terareum is bought and held by the holders at all point, yes. But that is under the work as well. That moves more into a staking aspect still, but that's why the versions will take around the version 3 for us to incorporate these features on board. But at the end of the day, when we complete the entire notion, we would be a very good centralized exchange by itself in nature.
Hey, in the spirit of this being a true AMA, I've got a difficult question for Dr. Praveen. I have no idea what this is about. I do know that we have ASMR fan who's one of the most probably famous eaters on planet Earth. And somebody asked the question, if she can ask you, have you ever tried the new ice cream? I don't know what this is.
Just who knows?
Some kind of an inside joke, Praveen? Can we get you an ice cream cone, Praveen?
I'm clueless.
I'm going to have a fan reach out to you to do a live stream where you ASMR ice cream. I think people want to see this. So, all right. Let me dig through here and see what I'm missing. I want to make sure. Here's a great question where we're in a multilingual realm. Any chance of doing AMAs in other languages?
We can give it a shot, Dean, but the thing is our team is growing as well, right? So we have employees and team members from different regions. Mostly they can take up this task and share the information in different languages as well. Yes.
We'll give some thought to that as well as just content creators. There probably is a way that we could do that. I think it would be fascinating to have those cataloged so that people can go back and reference them. But good question. You know, I think we want to be as inclusive as possible, and not just in the Indian language, but you know, cryptocurrency is global. It's this DeFi space that allows us to interact with the people that we choose to, that have common values or common goals. So I think that's a great idea, something we can give some thoughts to. Here's a question. I know we have a Telegram. Somebody wants to know, any chance of a Discord? RD, any thoughts?
Unmute here.
There you are.
Yeah, you know, I was going to tell you today, we've got with the group that we have in the marketing, we've got some social media personnel there too. And as we grow, it's something that's definitely a possibility. We're looking at everything. So it was exciting today to see all of that. And I think that down the line, yes, obviously, as we grow, so that we have people who can monitor these things, you know, from in-house. So
it's actually pretty complex having enough moderators to keep that running 24/7.
Yes, because currently we are more focused on the technology aspect and giving the news firsthand. Twitter helps us a lot right now, Dean. YouTube channels does, but any resource that we move on to Discord, Telegram, or anything that is extra, what do you say? Feasibility for the company at the end of the day. We have to get that resource and have somebody paid. Nobody does it for, you know, like a free aspect currently, because everybody, it's a work that we give, because if a question gets asked in any of the platform, if it's not answered, it puts a bad reputation on the company. So we are limiting ourselves to only 2-3 mediums right now, which we can cover currently with the work resources that we have. Because we're trying to save as much as possible so that we don't overspend on certain facilities where there is a medium to get answers always. If there is no medium at all, then that is a point of thought. But as the exchange goes and gets into life, there will be all these things covered up during the time period. Yes.
This next question, very forward looking from where we are right now. We're talking about way out into next year, but proof of work versus proof of stake for the blockchain. Any thoughts?
Currently, I don't have the answer on that, because we are moving into the centralized exchange right now. As we complete that notion, we are moving into the Terapay, and after that's when we move on to the blockchain, and I can give you the exact answers, whatever it's related to the blockchain then, because I don't have an answer now on that.
Okay. Yeah, that does seem pretty forward looking, and quite frankly, as fast as things are moving, there could be additional proof of prior to that, new technology to verify transactions. I know the goal in general is to try to bring down the amount of resources that are needed to verify transactions and make it more cost effective for those of us who are trading. But it's that'll be a good one to follow up on going forward. Going to take another question here from Big A Armory. Wondering what the general sentiment about crypto market was at the expo. Any timeline forecasts for true turnaround to risk on investing strategy for crypto projects?
So these wondering the general sentiment about the crypto.
There were people optimistic, generally speaking, at the expo from a crypto standpoint.
Everybody are, Dean, at the expo, because nobody would have a lot. At the end of the day, they're there to generate businesses, right? So everybody's optimistic about their own genre and their business. So the market is like that. The business is like that. You have to be optimistic about what your projects are. But we were really excited about the expo because we received a lot of traction. Like, a lot of people walked into our pool wanting to know what Terapool was and what the Terapay was, leaving the exchange by itself in the corner, because Terapay is a payment gateway that we would be building after the exchange, and that would revolutionize the way businesses pay for using crypto by itself. So many people were interested in that platform as well. So we received a lot of traction and a lot of people wanting to come and establish partnership, or just to come on down and say hi, hello to us, so that there would be a pleasant conversation in the future with us. So it was very good. Yes.
So that's the other thing that you just mentioned there, kind of helped me remember some questions that have come from before. But Terapay, that's one we didn't touch on at all right now. To me, that is the ultimate utility. If I can take a card and go to any point of service, put my card down, and then use my my cryptocurrency to make a payment, then we're there, right? I mean, this is the ultimate goal.
Absolutely.
And when are we looking at that type of utility? That's after the CEX?
After the exchange.
After the exchange, because it's a very complex, highly regulated zone, which we have to be in. But being in the centralized exchange would give us the opportunity to, basically go and
link the Terapay with the Terra exchange. You need that bank kind of gateway for a payment gateway.
Okay. People wondering if they'll be able to transfer essentially from DeFi space to the CEX.
Yes.
Okay.
It happens every day on crypto.com.
Yeah, that's a common function, but a good question for, especially, I do think we have to remember that there's a lot of people that are just coming into crypto, and it's a pretty steep learning curve for new people. Sure. So I appreciate questions like that. Let's see.
Well, if people have more questions, they can read my 7 articles.
Yeah.
I started from how Bitcoin started, and that will be a good refresher to really get understanding what's happening in the space.
Absolutely.
And they're easy reads, and people who don't like reading, they can always click on the listen.
Yeah. Well, I'm not much for reading for pleasure, but those articles are so concise. They're very easy to get through. Perhaps there be a way to, create a consolidated place to get to those. I don't know if we could add those to a news link on the Terareum website, but those, Dr. Praveen, thank you. Those articles are very well written, easy to get through. They really help you understand not only just Terareum as a project, but how cryptocurrency came about. I would love to see more content like that. It's just really well done. I'm sure it's takes a lot to put those together, but please keep writing.
It's painstaking, but yeah,
A lot of research. I look at your reference section, and it's as long as the article. So
yeah, it requires a lot of work, and I have to be fair to all parties as well as the space. So,
all right. Well, I'd like to be conscientious about your time, Milton. I know you guys are now pushing midnight in India. Dr. Ramana, people are wondering if he's okay. I'm sure he's just fine. There he is. Doing okay, Dr. Ramana? Good.
He's on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hi, fam. I am outside way, so I just popped in.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if you're in the house right now, your wife wants to kill you because everybody's asleep. So
Yes.
we appreciate you making these convenient for the U.S. audience, and we'll see what we can do to be kind to you guys and maybe flip the script. We'll do the late shift, and you guys can do yours during the day. Anything you guys would like to add before we close this out today? It's been a really good AMA. I appreciate all the information.
Yes. As always, thank you for all the support, because we would not be here if people did not believe in us right from the get-go, because there was a lot of negative talks about us initially, and people have held strong and shown us their support every day. All the spaces that have been organized that spreads the word outside about the project, about what we do, and we would really thank you for all the support. And thank you for hosting us today, Dean. Thank you for having us on board. Thank you, Austin, for your time. And thank you all who came on board for the AMA today. We have great things planned for Terareum, and Centralized Exchange is going to be a treat for every holder on board. And that's going to change our game overall. And as we move into more technology in the future, our Terareum, we're going to be bright as a start.
I agree.
And from my side, I would like to thank everybody, especially the holders. And I was very happy that we crossed the 10,000 mark and moving towards our 20 grand mark, hopefully in the next few months. As well as I'd like to really appreciate the YouTube team, all those YouTubers who really support us, as well as come out with the material. It's really, really brought us to the forefront. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, RD. Thank you to your pop, the other Austin, Zach, as well as especially Bleaves. Bleaves has helped a lot.
Yeah, Bleaves is in the chat today. Bleaves has put out some great content.
Yeah, I really appreciate Bleaves, as well as others who really, there are a few international YouTubers too who have really kind of pushed the project. So, and of course, as we all know, regulation eventually is coming. So I'm just trying to keep on top of it. And I have met with some of the legislators, as you guys know, and just keeping an eye on the ball, at least for the United States. And my last article in terms of the TerraChain kind of goes a little more in depth. And there's a good video on that, which I would recommend all of you to see, because it is Pat Toomey, who's a senator from Pennsylvania. He's going to be retiring soon. And he's actually the father of one of the big finance changes, as well as, of course, Senators Gillibrand and Senators Loomis and Patrick McHenry, who's a congressman also. And these people actually are laying the rules of the road for adoption within crypto in the United States. So these rules are necessary as long as we can have crypto as a future asset class and a hedge for the future in the stock market, equities, bonds, and futures. So I thank everybody.
No, appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. RD, Dr. Ramana, Austin, anybody else want to
No. Thank you, Dean. Yeah, thank you all. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all for being here. The chat, you guys, I always appreciate the civility. And, you know, there are many other people that weren't mentioned in these thank yous, but don't think that your efforts are going unnoticed. I've seen, you know, Crypto Queen, Adam Shelton, you know, people who I haven't seen making this content, just spontaneously getting out there. It's great to see. And then in the Twitter space, there is some fantastic content coming out. Just people really excited. People are looking forward to merch store. So hopefully we'll get some more information there soon, but appreciate everybody. I appreciate you being on the stream.
I do have to appreciate Tammy too.
Yeah, Tammy, really some great content here lately. So
Tammy.
All right, folks. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close this out for today. We'll hopefully do another one in the next 4 or 5 weeks. That'd be great. Maybe we'll pin you down for that now. I'll take that as a yes. All right, guys. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you later.